The transaction complete, I accepted the single, perfect champagne rose from Rosie Zhang's weathered hand. How many is that now? Goodness, even I'm losing count. Rosie chuckled, the smile lines around her eyes deepening like intricate maps. She beamed at me with an affection usually reserved for a future son-in-law. 98. I declared, puffing out my chest slightly. Oh my. Rosie clapped her hands together softly. Where in the world do you find such a devoted young man these days? Rosie, I asked, adjusting my collar. How does the suit look? Sharp enough. Sharper than Cary Grant himself, she declared. But aren't you freezing? Just a suit on a day like this? Ah, young men. Risking pneumonia for a girl's affection. She gently brushed some stray pollen off my lapel. If I were 20 years younger, and a man sent me 98 roses. Heavens, I wouldn't have lasted past 38. Whoever this young lady is, she's certainly blessed. It's a secret. I grinned, waving goodbye. Such mystery. When you finally win her over, you must bring her by. Absolutely. Just one more rose, and I would fulfill my promise. And Fiona Fong would give me her final answer. 98 days, 98 champagne roses, 98 vigils beneath her window. Would it be enough to win her heart? For the first 30 days, I admit, my focus was solely on conquest. Fiona had to be mine. But by the 60th rose, doubt had crept in. Her continued coolness, her polite but firm distance, made me falter. I considered giving up. My partner at the precinct, Shan Xian, however, kept bolstering my spirits with his shameless persistence theory, a blend of enduring humiliation, brazen audacity, and sheer, unrelenting tenacity. I trusted Sean's advice. Around the time I delivered the 45th rose to Fiona, Sean had already employed at least 2 stages of his theory to successfully win over Chloe Pei, Fiona's roommate in their shared 2-bedroom apartment. A living, breathing success story right before my eyes. How could I not believe him? By the 90th rose, my perspective had shifted again. I loved Fiona. Even if she ultimately rejected me, I wouldn't despair completely. I had genuinely put my heart on the line, fought for love. The desperate need to possess her had lessened, replaced by a quiet acceptance, a sense of having given my all. Loving someone doesn't necessarily mean owning them. Still, saying that and feeling it were 2 different things. How could my heart not ache for a single word of affirmation from her? 8:30 a.m. Right on schedule, I stood sentinel beneath her building. In 5 minutes, barring any surprises, Fiona would emerge. I shifted the rose from my right hand to my left, tucking the free hand into my trouser pocket, seeking a sliver of warmth against the crisp late autumn chill. Sean, that rascal. When he was wooing Chloe, he'd stood this same post with me for 2 weeks, claiming it was brothers weathering the storm together. The moment Chloe said yes, however, brotherhood took a back seat to romance. Now, even a direct call to his apartment wouldn't rouse him before noon. He'd called me late last night, sounding agitated, but hung up abruptly, probably eager to get back to Chloe, I'd figured. I tilted my head back, gazing up at the 4th-floor window like a devout believer awaiting an angel's descent. Early morning shoppers, mostly. Elderly folks returning with groceries, offered knowing smiles and nods. The single yellow rose in my hand felt like a silent greeting to them all. Her curtains remained drawn. A faint unease prickled my skin. Suddenly, a piercing scream tore through the morning air from upstairs. The curtains were violently yanked aside. Fiona pushed open the window, her eyes wide and unfocused. Her gaze darted around before finally locking onto mine, down below. For the first time in 98 days, she leaned out, her voice urgent, issuing an invitation I never expected. Leo Grant. Get up here. Quick. Chloe Pei sat slumped on the living room sofa, her hair a tangled mess, her face sallow, her body trembling uncontrollably. Fiona pressed a glass of warm water into her shaking hands. The cloying, metallic scent of blood hung heavy in the 80-square-meter apartment. A blood-stained coat lay discarded on the bathroom floor. Red smears marked the white tiles, already dried and crusted. In the sink rested a long, serrated watermelon knife, its blade darkened with gore. Are you hurt? My first instinct was concern for Fiona. She was rubbing Chloe's back gently with her right hand and shook her head in response to my question. Chloe had discovered the knife and coat. Fiona had her own in-soot bathroom, so she hadn't seen anything until Chloe's scream drew her out just as she was preparing for work. The coat was a beige, plush trench coat. A dark, reddish-brown splatter marred the front, right between the double rows of buttons. Who put these here? I asked. We don't know. Fiona answered quickly. Chloe nodded emphatically beside her, too terrified to speak. A sick prank, perhaps? But how could someone sneak in during the night, undetected, leaving behind a bloody coat and knife. And why? My thoughts raced. Fiona interrupted them. The coat, it's mine. I put it in the washing machine last night, but I had a headache and forgot to start it. I don't know how. I carefully picked up the coat. Inside its folds were a pair of jeans, a brown towel, and a gray knitted beanie hat. All Fiona's. So, someone was deliberately targeting her? A twisted joke? Who else has keys to this apartment? The two women exchanged glances. Just the landlady, Fiona said. I knew their landlady, a cheerful, plump woman in her 50s, endlessly proud of her daughter, a successful diplomat. She seemed the least likely person to orchestrate such a macabre display. Besides, for years as a detective had honed my instincts. The smell in the air, the look of the stain. This was human blood. I dialed Sean Qian's number. His girlfriend was traumatized. He needed to be here. But the call went straight to a number not in service message. Muttering a curse under my breath, my phone suddenly vibrated. Thinking it was Sean calling back, I glanced at the screen. It was Deputy Chief Gordon Guan. I took a breath, composing myself. Chief? Sir? Where are you, Grant? His voice was gruff. Up. I glanced at Fiona, who quickly looked away. I'm at Fiona Fong's place, sir. There's been an incident. An incident? Now is not the time for chasing girls, Grant. No, Chief, it's not like. We have a homicide. I want you on scene in 10 minutes. No excuses. Where, sir? Contact Linda Hua. She'll brief you. He hung up abruptly, forcefully. I looked apologetically at Fiona, then quickly dialed Captain Linda Hua's number. Her first words turned my limbs to stone. Sean Qian was dead. Found in a small grove near Jade Bridge Park, slumped in his blue Peugeot 207. When I arrived, Captain Linda Hua, head of Homicide Team 2, already had the scene secured. Her first question cut straight to the bone. Leo, what did Sean tell you last night? What? My mind flashed back to that abruptly ended call. The last call logged on his phone was to you. I forced myself to recall. It was around 1 a.m. His call had woken me. I'd assumed it was a case. But Sean's voice, it had been strangely calm, yet hesitant, like he wanted to tell me something important, but wasn't sure how. What did he say? Linda pressed. He said he was worried I wouldn't be able to sleep if he told me then. Said he'd tell me this morning instead. You didn't push him? I did. He hesitated, sounded like he was wrestling with something. He started to say something, then suddenly said he'd call me back later. I tried to capture the nuance of his tone. He seemed preoccupied, like something had just happened. He hung up quickly. I just figured he was with Chloe. Only after relaying this was I allowed closer to the car. Sean looked peaceful, asleep, in the driver's seat, his head lolled inwards. The driver's side window was open. From a distance, you wouldn't know anything was wrong. Up close, however, the horrifying reality was stark. A single, deep puncture wound gaped in his lower abdomen. Blood had pooled on the floor mat, soaking the heels of his leather shoes. The same shoes I was wearing. We bought them together last month. My limbs felt numb, my breathing shallow and ragged. My classmate from the academy, my best friend, my partner. Dead on this cold, autumn morning. How many times had we drunkenly joked, cursing each other to die young? But I never truly wished him harm. In dangerous situations, I always tried to shield him. Why? How could this happen? How could he be gone, his blood already cooling, before I even knew? Why wasn't I there sooner? Linda placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. By the time my head cleared slightly, Sean's body had been carefully removed from the car, covered by a white sheet. Preliminary theory is robbery-homicide, Linda stated quietly. His laptop is missing. The laptop bag was on the back seat, still containing the Bluetooth mouse and power cord. Maybe the killer was rushed, didn't have time to grab the bag itself. Just then, a forensics tech examining the car called out, Captain Hua, found the USB receiver for the Bluetooth mouse. He held up a small, black, USB stick-like object in his gloved hand. Where? In the storage compartment, just below the gear shift. Back at the station, surveillance footage from the areas surrounding Jade Bridge Park arrived. Forcing down my grief, Linda and I reviewed the critical time window, 12:30 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. The grove itself was secluded, accessed by small paths with no cameras. Sean had parked on a dirt track. Why he chose such an isolated spot remained a mystery. But one figure in the grainy footage immediately caught my eye. Fiona. Or rather, someone wearing the exact beige, bloodstained trench coat I had seen that morning in Fiona and Chloe's bathroom. The figure wore a beanie and a scarf obscuring their face. Combined with the darkness and distance, positive identification was impossible. But the way the person walked, it wasn't the fluid grace I associated with Fiona. I immediately briefed Linda on the bloody coat incident at the apartment. Teams were dispatched instantly. Fiona had taken the day off work to stay with the still-shaken Chloe. When the police arrived again, she assumed it was about the coat, completely unaware she was now potentially a suspect in Sean's murder. The forensics team quickly yielded critical results. The blood on the coat and the knife was confirmed to be Sean Qian's. Hairs and skin cells belonging to both Chloe and Fiona were found on the coat. Unsurprising given it was Fiona's garment and they shared an apartment. But crucially, the handle of the watermelon knife yielded clear fingerprints and palm prints belonging only to Chloe Pei. I didn't. Chloe's sobs were soft, breathless. I didn't kill him. How could I kill Sean? My own investigation revealed that Chloe and Sean had been arguing frequently lately. But typical relationship squabbles rarely escalate to murder. What were you doing between midnight and 2 a.m. last night? Linda asked gently but firmly. I went to bed around 11 p.m. And before that, Sean and I had a fight. What about? Work stress. I was upset and took it out on him. I expected him to comfort me, but he didn't. Was Sean at your apartment then? Yes, in the living room. When did he leave? Leave? Chloe's eyes clouded over, struggling to recall. After a tense 10 seconds, she mumbled, I don't remember. You don't remember when he left, but you remember going to bed at 11? Linda pressed. I woke up briefly around 11. Chloe clarified, her voice thin. My head was pounding. He was gone by then. I saw a broken glass on the floor, but I was too tired and groggy. I just glanced at the time on my phone and went back to sleep. Simultaneously, in another interrogation room, I was questioning Fiona. Her account of the previous night differed significantly. I got home close to 11 p.m., Fiona stated calmly. Even before I opened the door, I could hear Chloe arguing loudly with her boyfriend. How loud? Very loud. I'm sure the neighbors heard. What were they arguing about? I only caught a few words from the hallway. I didn't want to embarrass Chloe, so I waited outside for a bit, then went downstairs and walked around the block. I probably went back up around 11:30. Was Sean still there? No. Chloe's bedroom door was closed, and the apartment was quiet. I circled back. What exactly did you hear them say before 11, when you were outside the door? Fiona frowned in concentration. Chloe was furious. She told him to get out immediately, never come back. She used some rough language. I'd known her for over a year, and I'd never heard her sound so angry. Anything else? She said she wanted to break up with Sean. Told him he should be the one to initiate it the next day. That's all. Those were the main phrases I heard clearly. The rest was just angry shouting. And between midnight and 2 a.m., what were you doing? I asked. I got back late, washed up quickly, and went to bed. Around midnight, I suppose. Chloe and Fiona had similar builds, nearly identical heights. The surveillance footage alone wasn't enough to distinguish between them based on appearance. The only potential differentiator was gait, but the figure in the video walked with a strange stiffness, sometimes like a man, sometimes like a woman deliberately trying to mimic a man's walk. It felt unnatural. Compounding the issue, their apartment building lacked hallway cameras, preventing a closer look at the suspect leaving or entering. While both women were under suspicion, the possibility of a third party, someone who stole Fiona's coat and framed them, couldn't be ruled out. Then, during my questioning of Fiona, a crucial piece of information emerged. Chloe Pei suffered from somnambulism, sleepwalking. Sleepwalking? Yes. And when she sleepwalks, Fiona explained, leaning closer, her voice dropping, she becomes someone else. She paused. A man. Or rather, a boy. This grabbed my full attention. A boy. Shortly after she moved in, about a year ago, I noticed strange things. One night, I woke up hearing voices in the living room, like a child talking to himself. I went out, and there was Chloe, sitting on the floor, playing with a jigsaw puzzle. Giggling. The laugh, it sounded like a 5 or 6-year-old boy. Fiona rubbed her arms, goosebumps visible despite the room's warmth. Explain further. Annie, want to play a game with me? Fiona mimicked a child's voice, a flicker of fear in her eyes. She asked me to sit down and play puzzles with her. She didn't recognize you? Oh, she knew who I was. But it clearly wasn't her inside her body. The way she spoke, her expressions, her movements, even her understanding of the world, it was all like a young boy. Did you ever talk to Chloe about this? I tried hinting at it the next morning. Asked her how she slept. But she had no memory of it. Said she slept fine. So I figured it was just sleepwalking. Albeit frequent, happening once or twice a month. At first, it terrified me, but she never seemed dangerous, never harmed me during these episodes, so I just got used to it. Fiona hadn't seen the surveillance footage. She couldn't know the figure walked with masculine characteristics. Her volunteered information about Chloe's sleepwalking persona was potentially explosive. Armed with this, Linda re-interviewed Chloe, but as Fiona predicted, Chloe had absolutely no awareness of any sleepwalking episodes. Still, Fiona's testimony alone wasn't enough to conclude Chloe committed murder during a somnambulistic state. With no concrete evidence linking Fiona directly to the crime, she was released from questioning around 4 p.m. Feeling partly responsible for her ordeal, I offered to drive her home. The car ride was thick with silence. Fiona looked utterly exhausted, staring blankly out the window at the passing cityscape. "What are you thinking about?" I asked gently. She turned, startled from her thoughts. "You seem lost in thought. This whole investigation must be draining." "No, it's not that," she murmured. "I'm just worried, what if the information I gave misled the police? What if it unfairly implicates Chloe?" "Don't worry about that," I reassured her. "We're not idiots. We investigate thoroughly. Sean was my best friend. I won't let his killer get away." "Yes." She sighed softly. "Such a good life, gone just like that. So pointlessly." Her tone was mournful, and the sound twisted something sharp in my chest. "Today," I began, gripping the steering wheel tighter, keeping my eyes fixed on the road ahead, "makes 98 roses." "Oh." She offered no further comment, simply hugged her arms closer and returned her gaze to the heavy autumn clouds outside. Another long silence stretched between us. Suddenly, she pointed towards the imposing iron bridge spanning the river ahead. Could you stop? Walk with me on the bridge for a bit? I need some air." This request, coming from Fiona, was unexpected, welcome. In the 3 months I'd known her, this felt like the closest we'd ever been emotionally. She leaned against the cold steel railing, looking down at the turbulent water swirling far below. "It's so hard to truly know someone, isn't it?" she mused quietly. "Everyone seems to have a side A and a side B." "Yeah," I agreed, thinking of the investigation. "Like Chloe. If you hadn't told us about her sleepwalking, her game playing, we might still be chasing dead ends. Everyone has a side they don't want others to see." The wind whipped strands of hair across her face. She turned her exquisite profile towards me. "You don't know my side B, Leo. If you did, you might regret sending those 98 roses. I don't know what secrets you hold." I moved a step closer. "But I know that when you truly love someone, you accept all of them. Every side." She laughed then, a short, brittle sound. Was it mockery? Disbelief? Impossible to tell. Abruptly, the laughter died. She turned back to the river, her expression unreadable. Then, she dropped the bombshell, casually, devastatingly. "I'm pregnant." That evening, Chief Guan treated me to dinner in a private room at the upscale Hawaii restaurant. My connection with the chief ran deep. He'd been my father's partner on the forceback when I was in 4th grade. When my father was killed in the line of duty, his dying wish was for the chief to look after me. For over a decade, Chief Guan had done just that, monitoring my studies, guiding me, ensuring I never lacked a father figure despite my loss. He was the man I respected most in the world, closer than any uncle. But at work, we maintained a professional distance. If anything, because of our close personal relationship, he was often harder on me than on others in front of colleagues. Alone, however, we were like father and son. "Sean was a good kid. Seeing you two together always reminded me of your dad and me when we were young." The chief slowly poured amber liquid into a small glass, pushing it towards me. "In our line of work, son, you always have to be prepared." "I know, Chief." My nose stung, tears threatening again. Sean dead, Fiona pregnant, life and death crashing together on the same day. This had to be the darkest day of my life. The chief raised his glass. To Sean. We drank. The strong liquor burned down my throat. Unprepared, I choked, coughing violently. The chief quickly handed me napkins, patting my back gently as I wiped away tears and spilled liquor. Useless. I couldn't protect my best friend. And the woman I loved, pregnant with another man's child. A man whose identity I didn't even have the courage to ask about. What a failure. I took the tissues, wiping the corners of my eyes. The chief rested his hand on my shoulder. "When it comes to matters of the heart, especially your own, you need to be extra careful. At a critical juncture like this, you can't afford any mistakes." I nodded numbly. The critical juncture he referred to was the upcoming promotion period. The chief was deputy. Everyone expected him to be formally appointed chief within the month. Our close relationship was well known. Any major error on my part would reflect badly on him, potentially jeopardizing his promotion. "That's why I worry about you the most," he continued, his tone paternal. "I'm getting old. What parent doesn't worry about their kids? Especially after what happened to Sean. My mind just races. If something happened to you, Leo, how could I face your father?" His simple words, "What parent doesn't worry about their kids?" resonated deeply. Don't worry, Chief. Dad's watching over us from heaven. He'll protect me, protect you. Your dad is your dad. I'm me. He might have spirit, but I don't, he grumbled, pouring himself another drink. Linda reported that the killer might have been male. Made me think. That drug case you and Sean cracked back in August? Didn't one trafficker escape? You're overthinking it, sir. Anything's possible. Those criminals are vicious. If that escapee could target Sean, he could target you. That's why I'm worried. Chief, you don't understand. Wanting to ease his mind, I summarized the day's findings, specifically mentioning Fiona's account of Chloe's sleepwalking. He listened intently. Before I could even finish describing the puzzle-playing incident, for words escaped his lips. Dissociative identity disorder. Multiple personalities? The chief elaborated. A key characteristic is multiple distinct personalities residing within one body. When one alter takes control, the host personality is dormant, unaware of the alter's actions. It often stems from severe childhood trauma, especially abuse. Chloe's reported behavior. It fits the profile remarkably well. You need to investigate this further. It felt like a light bulb switching on in my brain. So, Chloe's other personality could have killed Sean? It's highly possible. You'll need to communicate directly with that alter ego to confirm anything. I drained my glass and stood up. Thank you, Chief. Linda's probably still at the station. I'm heading back now. Rash as ever. The chief called out as I reached the door. I know you like that Fiona girl, Leo, but don't let emotions cloud your judgment. Until the investigation is complete, everyone is a suspect. Understood. Thinking back, the chief was indirectly responsible for my meeting Fiona. 3 months ago, I'd accompanied him to view a new condo development he was considering for retirement. Fiona was the sales manager there. Her beauty, elegance, and professional grace captivated me instantly. It was love at first sight. On the drive back, the chief, ever perceptive, had teased me. You've got your eye on that young lady, haven't you, son? I flushed, unsure how to respond. Hey, he encouraged. Fair maiden, virtuous knight, seeks her favor. Nothing to blush about. Leo Grant, the precinct's famous dynamite stick, fell by a pretty face. Knowing I couldn't hide anything from him, I mumbled. I haven't really dated before. Always a first time. Let me tell you, if you like her, go for it. I already asked around. She's single. If you don't make a move now, someone else will snap her up by next week. His words now felt like a bitter prophecy. Someone had snapped her up right under my nose. And tragically, I had no idea who, or when it even happened. A well-dressed, middle-aged man was speaking calmly with Chloe Pei inside the interrogation room. Linda Hua watched the monitor feed intently. Seeing me return, she immediately shared the latest developments. It is did. Chloe likely suffers from dissociative identity disorder. She pointed to the man inside. That's Dr. Chen Jin, a professional psychologist. I called him in after you left. He spoke with Chloe, reviewed her history. He suspects did and recommended investigating her family background and childhood. Now he's trying to access the altar. Linda handed me a file containing information gathered about Chloe. The 25-year-old's father died when she was young. Her mother remarried, but less than 3 years later, when Chloe was 7, her stepfather abused her. He was arrested. Since then, whenever Chloe experienced significant stress, her normally gentle personality would shift dramatically, becoming aggressive and defensive. Just then, Dr. Chen's conversation with Chloe captured my attention. You mentioned experiencing periods of lost time? Dr. Chen adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. Can you describe that feeling? It's like forgetting. I don't know, like a chunk of time just disappears. When was the last time this happened? Chloe looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Her frail body slumped. But she cooperated. Last night, during the argument with your boyfriend? Yes, he upset me. Maybe I was too sensitive. I always have trouble controlling my temper. And how did the lost time occur? I wanted him to hold me, comfort me, then I would have calmed down. I knew he was upset too, but I thought it wasn't too much to ask of a man. Her voice trailed off sadly. Sean was quiet for a moment, probably trying to collect himself. But while he was silent, my head started hurting badly. Then, I forget. The next thing I knew, Sean was gone. I saw the broken glass on the floor, but I didn't know who broke it. My head hurt so much. I didn't want to think. I just went to bed. There's about 15 minutes. I don't know how I spent it. Maybe I fell asleep, but it didn't feel like sleeping. After listening patiently, Dr. Chen's tone shifted abruptly, becoming cold, accusatory. You killed Sean Qian. No, I didn't. I loved him. How could I kill him? Chloe protested vehemently. You must have wanted him dead. Now you've got your wish. You should be happy, shouldn't you? I never thought that. Chloe looked up sharply, meeting Dr. Chen's gaze. Humph. tormenting him over trivial things, blaming him. Now that he's dead, don't you feel any remorse? How did Sean end up with such a heartless woman? You have no idea how much pain I'm in. Chloe clenched her fists, her shoulders trembling. Dr. Chen shook his head dismissively. You're not just weak, you're incredibly selfish. I'm truly disappointed in you. No. Chloe clutched her head. Stop talking my head. She rocked back and forth, her hair falling across her face. Gradually, she became still. Dr. Chen's harsh words were clearly a tactic. His expression remained calm, professional. He made a few check marks on his notepad and nodded towards the one-way mirror. Chloe suddenly lifted her head, staring intently at Dr. Chen. A strange, knowing half-smile played on her lips. It radiated an unnerving confidence, reminiscent of a top student in an elementary school classroom, always praised by the teacher. Uncle, want to play a game with me? The voice was high-pitched, innocent, like that of a 6- or 7-year-old child. Her eyes widened deliberately, her posture becoming unnaturally straight. We all held our breath on the other side of the glass. Dr. Chen smiled gently. Of course, but before we play, can I get to know you first? My name is Ming. Ming? How old are you? 7. And who are you to Chloe? I'm her big brother. Brother? If you're out, where's Chloe? Little sister is sleeping. Chloe/Ming blinked wide eyes. Uncle, are we playing the game now? Sure. What game are we playing? Let's play a secret game. Okay. Uncle is very good at keeping secrets. Dr. Chen leaned forward slightly. So, Ming, what secret do you need to keep? Shoo. She put a finger to her lips. Uncle is too loud. Don't wake up Chloe. Okay. Uncle. Chloe/Ming lowered her voice conspiratorially. Don't tell Chloe. Big brother will always protect her. It has to be a secret. Why can't you tell her? If she knows I'm always with her, she'll get annoyed. Ming whispered even softer. A few years ago, she tried to get rid of me, but she doesn't understand. If I leave, who will protect her? She's so timid, always getting bullied. There are too many bad people in the world. Ming, do you often help Chloe chase away bad people? Uh-huh. Chloe/Ming nodded vigorously. There's a man named Shan Qian. He always makes little sister cry, so I often chase him away. So last night, the person arguing with Shan Qian, that was you? Of course it was me. She just gets bullied. When haven't I been the one to protect her? But Dr. Chen habitually pushed his glasses up his nose, leaning even closer. Shan Qian is dead. Chloe/Ming grinned, a wide, seemingly genuine smile. But seeing an adult face radiate childlike innocence while discussing a death, especially under these circumstances, sent a chill down my spine. Then, Chloe, inhabited by the personality of Ming, stated cheerfully, I know, uncle. I killed him. As she spoke, she flicked her right wrist downwards in a sharp stabbing motion. In my mind's eye, I saw Sean's blood spraying onto that beige trench coat. Day 99. I stood outside the flower shop, hesitating, pacing. Through the glass window, amidst the vibrant blooms, I saw Rosie Zhang's headscarf bobbing. She seemed to be carefully selecting a single champagne rose, wrapping it meticulously in blue foil, tying the pink ribbon into a perfect heart shape. Young man, choosing a rose. Yes. For your girlfriend? Not exactly. Rosie smiled knowingly and picked out a beautiful champagne rose for me. The language of this flower, she recited softly, is falling in love with you is the greatest happiness of my life. Thinking of you is my sweetest pain. That flower language. I had planned to share it with Fiona today, on the 99th day. Before Rosie could recognize me lingering, I turned and walked away. According to Ming, the alter personality within Chloe Pei, he had killed Shan Qian, taken his laptop, smashed it, and buried it under a camphor tree near Jade Bridge Park. Following this lead, investigators quickly located the damaged laptop. Linda sent it to the tech department for hard drive recovery. Chloe's diagnosis was still pending confirmation. She was transferred to a psychiatric hospital for observation and evaluation by specialists. If the diagnosis was confirmed, she would receive treatment there. The law doesn't prosecute the mentally incompetent in the same way. The following days passed in a haze of alcohol and grief. I tried desperately to forget Fiona, to erase her from my thoughts, but it was impossible. I kept asking myself, was she really that important? The answer always came back, stark and simple, yes. Finally, on the morning of the 106th day, I found myself walking back into Rosie's flower shop. She didn't ask questions this time. Her eyes held a quiet understanding. In a somber silence, she carefully wrapped a single champagne rose. It's all right, she murmured softly as she handed it to me. A real man dares to love and dares to face the consequences. If you love truly, there are no regrets. But as I sat in my car, parked just outside Fiona's apartment complex, the rose lying on the passenger seat, my hand felt too heavy to even lift it. I saw Fiona exit the building and get into a black Audi sedan. The Audi pulled away smoothly. A wave of despair washed over me. On autopilot, driven by some masochistic impulse, I started my engine and followed them. I needed to know, who was this man who had stolen Fiona right from under my nose? The Audi navigated the city streets, eventually pulling up outside a women's health clinic. The driver, a tall, well-built man about 6 feet tall, got out. He wore jeans, a high-collared trench coat, and a scarf wrapped high, obscuring most of his face. Dark sunglasses masked his eyes. Without a backward glance at Fiona, he strode towards the clinic entrance. Fiona followed meekly, head bowed. They didn't look intimate. More like strangers, or at least, not lovers. The man kept his hands shoved in his coat pockets, walking slightly. Ahead, and to the left of Fiona. He didn't love her. He was just using her. Fury propelled me forward. I parked hastily and followed them inside. About 10 minutes later, I found them on the 4th floor, outside the surgical unit. Fiona disappeared through a door marked operating room with a middle-aged female doctor. The man remained outside, pacing anxiously back and forth. There was something familiar about his posture, the way he moved, but I couldn't place it. I moved closer, trying to get a better look. When I was about 30 or 40 meters away, he noticed me. His gaze swept past me without recognition, and he quickly turned, heading down the corridor in the opposite direction. Then it hit me. As he turned, the slightly warmer hospital air must have prompted him to loosen his scarf momentarily. I saw his profile clearly. Captain Marcus Zhao, head of Homicide Team 1. It was that son of a bitch. No mistake. That hypocrite. Always playing the righteous cop in public, but lay on the sycophantic flattery thick when superiors were around. How many times had I watched him shamelessly brown-nosed Chief Guan at official dinners? Despite his obsequiousness, I'd never considered him truly corrupt. He was in his early 40s, married with a young child. His wife, whom I knew slightly, was a section chief at the prosecutor's office. A model family man, envied by the singles at the precinct. And now this? Damn it, he was the one who got Fiona pregnant. I sprinted after him. Zhao was jiggling his leg impatiently by the elevators. Seeing me approach, he ducked into the emergency stairwell. Just as his figure vanished down the stairs, my phone rang. Chief Guan summoned me back to the station immediately. In his office, the chief chain-smoked, taking slow, deliberate drags. Give it up, Leo. That was the first thing he said. Give up what? Fiona. I stared at him, confused. Why the sudden change from encouragement to dismissal? He answered my unspoken question. She's pregnant. How did you know? Linda's report from 3 days ago. I just reviewed it. Mentioned they found a positive pregnancy test in Fiona Fong's trash during the apartment search. Confirmed it was hers. He exhaled a long plume of smoke. I'm telling you plainly because I don't want you getting in any deeper. Don't worry, Chief. I hesitated. The image of Marcus Zhao leading Fiona into the clinic flashed in my mind. But I couldn't bring myself to voice the accusation, not yet. The champagne rose still lay on the back seat of my car. Looking at it, an idea formed. Couldn't a rose mark an ending as well as a beginning? I had made a promise, 99 roses. Only one remained. The outcome wasn't what I'd hoped for, but who could have predicted this tragic mess? If Sean were still here, sitting beside me, he'd clap me on the shoulder. Hey man, it's okay. Let's go get wasted. Drink away the sorrow. Life truly holds too many cruel surprises. Fiona was dead. Her body was recovered from the river downstream, 7 days after her abortion procedure. When a colleague mentioned the discovery of an unidentified female body, Fiona's face immediately flashed in my mind. A chilling premonition. When the identification was confirmed, I felt like I was shattering from the inside out. Just let me grieve in ignorance. Please, not this news. Not this ending for you. That same day, clutching the 99th rose I'd bought that morning, I drove to Fiona's apartment, needing some kind of closure. But her apartment was empty. Stripped bare. The landlady informed me Fiona had moved out 3 days prior, paid the penalty for breaking the lease, settled all dues, but left no forwarding address. Downstairs, I tried calling her number. Disconnected. No longer in service. My WeChat messages remained unread, unanswered. Still, I stubbornly took a photo of the final rose and sent it to her silent account. I found Marcus Zhao in the precinct hallway and punched him squarely in the nose. He staggered back, hitting the glass wall, blood erupting. He stared at me, not with anger, but with bewildered, feigned innocence. Dynamite stick. What the hell is wrong with you? Are you crazy? I kicked him hard in the stomach, followed immediately with a right hook to his jaw. Zhao still didn't fight back. Get up and fight, you coward. I roared. Someone grabbed me from behind, colleagues swarming, pulling us apart. I'm not stooping to the level of a madman. Zhao spat, wiping blood from his lip, playing dumb while knowing exactly what I meant. I nearly screamed the truth about Fiona right there, in front of everyone. But years of training kicked in, a sliver of professional calm asserting itself. Evidence. I need evidence. The investigation into Fiona Fong's death was assigned to Captain Marcus Zhao. The irony was suffocating. In my eyes, he was the prime suspect. But I had nothing concrete, nothing to convince leadership to look closely at one of their own decorated officers. After the assault, I drove straight back to the women's clinic. But something was wrong. There was no record of Fiona Fong being treated there 7 days ago. Using an alias for an abortion was understandable, but the surveillance footage. It was gone. The hospital administration claimed a system crash 3 days ago had fried the storage hard drives. They'd replaced them. The old drives? Nobody knew where they went. Marcus Zhao. A good cop indeed. Clean, efficient, leaving no trace. Back at the station, the atmosphere was frosty. Colleagues avoided my gaze. Chief Guan was livid. He called me into his office, closed the door, and unleashed a 20-minute tirade. You think Zhao didn't hit back to give you face? You think people here are nice to you because they respect you? It was his standard lecture whenever I messed up, always circling back to my father, too. His perceived obligation. Do you know what's at stake right now? You assault a fellow captain, in front of witnesses, without provocation. You're lucky Zhao isn't pressing charges. One formal complaint. He wouldn't dare. I interrupted hotly. Wouldn't dare? You think you're the only dynamite stick in this precinct. He murdered someone. Would he dare report me? The anger in the chief's eyes slowly faded, replaced by a calculating stillness. Murder? Leo, you're a police officer. Do you understand the consequences of making baseless accusations? His voice dropped, became wary. He glanced towards the door. He killed Fiona Fong. The chief frowned slightly, reached for his cigarettes, settled back in his chair, and lit one with deliberate slowness. Do you have proof? I shook my head but recounted what I saw. Zhao escorting Fiona into the clinic 7 days prior. The chief's frown deepened. Well, he murmured, that does complicate things. He got her pregnant, I insisted. Feared exposure, feared ruining his career, his family. So he killed her. The autopsy report on Fiona is back, the chief stated, his face obscured by smoke. Cause of death, drowning. No other signs of trauma. However, her blood alcohol content was high. He paused. The current evidence doesn't support homicide, Leo. It points towards accidental drowning while intoxicated. Fiona doesn't drink. He blew out a stream of smoke. You're letting your emotions run wild. How well did you really know her? Were you following her 24/7? But I asked her to have a drink with me once. She said she didn't know how. God, your emotional intelligence is low, the chief sighed. That was a polite refusal, son. Just because she refused you doesn't mean she refused everyone else. I don't believe Fiona killed herself or died accidentally. The chief stubbed out his cigarette. Regarding your assault on Zhao, I won't force you to apologize. I know your temper. Getting you to do something you don't want is harder than teaching a dog not to lick itself. But I demand this. Until you have solid evidence, control yourself. If there's a next time, don't blame me for forgetting my promise to your father. Back at my desk, I messaged Linda Hua, asking for a copy of Fiona's autopsy report. 5 minutes later, she brought over a USB drive personally. So, you really decked old Zhao? She asked, a hint of amusement in her eyes. You know already. Yeah, but I missed the live show. Shame. Linda glanced towards Zhao's office down the hall. Hey, doesn't Fiona's death feel weird to you? I looked up sharply. You think so too? Sean's case, did it really end cleanly? The multiple personality killer, it never sat right with me. I haven't slept well since. Now, Fiona's dead too. My gut feeling is usually pretty good. Linda's gut feeling wasn't always reliable, but hearing her echo my suspicions felt validating. Is Chloe really mentally ill? Essentially confirmed. Dr. Chun and the specialists agree. She has a protective brother, Alter, Ming, who has manifested since childhood to shield her from trauma. I fiddled with the black USB drive Linda gave me, then unplugged the Bluetooth receiver from my wireless mouse from my Surface tablet's USB port. Linda stared at my screen. Your laptop, it's the same model as Sean's? Yeah. We got them together with our bonus money after cracking that drug case in August. Same model, same specs. Linda picked up the tiny USB receiver I'd just unplugged. Leo. She held it up right in front of my face. What? Your Bluetooth mouse, it's the same brand as Sean's too, right? Logitech. Yeah, bought everything together. But Sean's Bluetooth receiver was found left behind in his car's console. My breath hitched. Sean's laptop was stolen, but the USB receiver, which should have been plugged into the laptop, was intentionally placed in the storage compartment. I slammed my hand on the desk, standing up abruptly. You mean? Linda finished the thought. The killer wouldn't have unplugged it and put it neatly in the console. Sean must have unplugged it himself. Why would he do that? I looked at the black USB drive in my hand. He was using a flash drive. Dynamite stick, are you even awake? Yeah, I'm up. What's so urgent? You're rambling. Sean hesitated. Maybe I should tell you in person tomorrow morning. I'm worried you won't be able to sleep if you know. What case is it? It's not a case. Sean sighed. Look, I gotta go. Something came up. Click. Clearly, Sean wanted to tell me something difficult, something sensitive. And at the same time, he was using a flash drive to copy or save some kind of data. His smashed Surface yielded no useful data from that night. The tech team confirmed a specific Word document had been saved around midnight, then forcefully deleted shortly after. The crime scene techs hadn't found a flash drive. Linda took 2 officers and me back to the camphor tree where the laptop was buried. We dug, sifted every handful of soil for yards around. Nothing. 3 possibilities, Linda theorized, brushing dirt from her hands. 1. Chloe/Ming hid the drive. 2. It was dropped or lost somewhere else. 3. There was no flash drive, and Sean just randomly unplugged his mouse receiver. Option 3 is highly unlikely, I muttered, rubbing grit between my fingers. Option 2, we could issue a public notice, offer a reward. But option 1, why would Chloe, or Ming, hide Sean's flash drive? We visited Chloe again at the hospital. She seemed calmer, physically better, though still pale. She insisted she knew nothing about any flash drive. I loved Sean, she wept softly. I would never hurt him. Please, you have to find who did this. Dr. Chun confirmed they hadn't yet told Chloe about Ming's confession. I just regret arguing with him, she sobbed. He must have been in so much pain when he died. Linda comforted her patiently. Try to remember, Chloe. Did Sean have a flash drive he used often? Chloe nodded. Yes, a silver one. He used it for important files, backups. I saw him using it when I watched him work sometimes. Do you know where it is now? Chloe shook her head. He always kept it on a chain around his neck. This matched what I knew. The drive was tiny, less than 2 centimeters long, with a retractable connector designed like a crucifix. If Ming killed Sean, the host personality, Chloe, would indeed know nothing about the drive's fate. Linda glanced at Dr. Chun. He took her seat beside Chloe's bed. Chloe, you can rest for a bit now. Huh. He checked his watch. Ming and I have an appointment. We're playing a game today. Chloe looked confused, then her brow furrowed, her face twitching. Hurts, head hurts. Dr. Chun. Ming, let little sister sleep now. Dr. Chin's voice was soothing, hypnotic. Uncle wants to play a game with you. Chloe's head snapped up. Wide eyes, confident smile. Ming was back. Uncle, what are we playing today? Yesterday, we played checkers and you lost. Remember the forfeit? She pouted, crossing her arms. I don't want to forfeit. No. Is Ming a big boy? Yes. Big boys keep their promises. Otherwise, how can someone who breaks their word protect little sister? Ming reluctantly uncrossed his arms. Okay, what's the forfeit? You have to answer one question. What question? After you killed Sean Qian and smashed his computer, what happened to the flash drive that was plugged into it? Ming scratched his head. What flash drive? My heart sank. Another dead end. A silver flash drive, plugged into the USB port of the computer you smashed. Ming seemed to think hard, eyes darting around, muttering. That's not how the game works. Game? That's not how the game works. There was no flash drive mentioned. Linda interjected quickly. What game, Ming? Ming grinned slyly. The rules of the game say, I can't tell you. Dr. Chin smoothly took over. Oh, Ming is being mischievous again. So, you play games with other people too, not just Uncle? Does Ming have other friends? That makes Uncle jealous. Maybe Uncle won't play with Ming anymore. The tactic worked. Ming grabbed Dr. Chin's coat sleeve anxiously. Don't be mad, Uncle. I only have 2 friends. And you're my best friend now. Who is the other friend? It's Auntie. Linda and I exchanged glances. Dr. Chin pressed gently. Is it Auntie Fiona? Uncle knows Auntie too. Ming exclaimed. Of course. Auntie Fiona and I are very good friends too. Dr. Chun patted Ming's hand. Good friends don't keep secrets from each other. Fiona told me all her secrets. Is Ming my good friend? Yes. All 3 of us are good friends. Exactly. So, Auntie Fiona already told me all about your game. But Ming is still keeping secrets from me. Ha ha. Ming burst out laughing. Ha ha. Auntie lost. Did she? Yes, she lost. How could she win a game against clever Ming? Ming puffed up with pride. I get to play with Auntie's iPad now. My insides churned with impatience. Linda looked equally tense. Dr. Chen subtly signaled for us to remain calm. Haha, Dr. Chen continued smoothly. Auntie Fiona already brought the iPad. She knows how much Ming likes to play. Really? Ming's eyes lit up. Of course. But, Dr. Chen stroked Ming's hair gently. Auntie Fiona said the iPad is only for honest children. She told me all the rules of your game. I just want to hear. Ming, tell me, to see if it matches what she said. Auntie Fiona instructed that only if Ming tells the whole truth, without missing a single detail, can he play with the iPad. Ming sat up straighter, neck stiff, then tilted his head playfully. Uncle always likes to test me. Uncle likes games too. Quick, Ming, tell me. Game step 1. Wait for Auntie to come back. Oh, that's not what Auntie said. She described it in much more detail. Ming shouldn't try to trick Uncle. Oh, Auntie said she was going to kill Shan Qian for Ming. Ming was happy, of course. That Qian man always bullied little sister. Auntie helping. Ming killed the bastard. I couldn't ask for more. Auntie said. Ming wasn't allowed to sleep. Had to wait for her to come back for game step 2. Dr. Chen nodded. Exactly what Auntie said. Step 2. Auntie made me imitate little sister's voice. Call Shan Qian. Tell him to meet at the woods near Jade Bridge Park. Yes, perfect. Then Auntie left. About 40 minutes later, she came back, covered in blood. She threw the coat in the bathroom, took off her gloves, made my hand touch the blood, then made me hold the knife and put it in the sink. Very good. Ming is an honest boy. Auntie said. She killed Shan Qian for Ming and little sister, and the police uncles would cause trouble for her. So, game step 4 was, Ming had to keep the secret. If Auntie was suspected, Ming had to actively lie to the police uncles. Lying to police uncles isn't what good children do, is it? That's what I said. Auntie told me it was just a game. The police uncles wouldn't blame Ming. But if they knew Auntie killed Shan Qian, Auntie would be in big trouble. Ming had to protect Auntie, just like protecting little sister. Ming is a big boy. Ming is such a good boy, Dr. Chen praised, ruffling Chloe's hair. But Auntie Fiona also mentioned details about the silver flash drive. Why didn't Ming tell Uncle about that? Ming suddenly looked agitated. Auntie didn't mention a flash drive. Auntie lied. Ming, don't worry, it's just a game. My best friend, murdered by the woman I loved? How? Why? Why would Fiona kill Sean? How I left the hospital, got into Linda's car, what she said to me on the drive back. It's all a blur, my mind reeling and chaotic. Disbelief. Only when her car pulled into the station parking lot did the fog begin to lift, leaving behind a raw, gaping wound. I know this is hard to accept, Linda said quietly, engaging the handbrake. But Ming's confession, it has a certain disturbing logic. What if he's still lying? My voice was hoarse. Linda frowned slightly. Without more evidence, I can't definitively convince you. We still lack a clear motive for Fiona. But undeniably, there was some hidden connection between her and Sean. Needing Linda to have all the facts, I finally told her about seeing Marcus Zhao take Fiona to the clinic for the abortion. No wonder you punched him, Linda exclaimed, momentarily shocked. I always thought old Zhao was just a bootlicker, but it makes no sense. His wife is famously tough, a prosecutor no less. Zhao is supposedly terrified of her at home. He'd really risk getting Fiona pregnant? That's playing with fire. Exactly. So he had the motive to kill her. He must have done it. Linda held up a hand. Don't jump to conclusions, Leo. Let me brief Chief Guan on today's developments first. You lay low for now, and definitely don't go looking for trouble. With Zhao again, we have to play this game step by step, just like Ming said. Her calm, methodical approach always made me suspect she secretly had the soul of a stoic old man. After parting ways with Linda, I headed home. As I passed Rosie Zhang's flower shop, I noticed it was closed, but Rosie herself was sitting on the doorstep, scanning the passers-by. The moment she saw me, she leaped up, waving frantically. Leo, Leo. Before I could reach her, she hurried over, grabbed my arm, and pulled me inside the darkened shop. What's wrong, Rosie? She peered out nervously, ensuring no one was watching, then retrieved an EMS envelope from beneath a pile of ferns. About 4 days ago, she whispered, a very pretty young woman gave this to me. Who? She didn't give her name. But just before leaving, she bought a single champagne rose. Rosie clapped her hands softly. I understood then. She was beautiful, Leo. No wonder you sent her flowers for 99 days. I took the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of A4 paper. 3 lines were printed on it. Cloud Drive account. Champagne Rose Side B. Password. On his chest. Memorize and destroy. I folded the paper carefully. Rosie, why didn't you give this to me sooner? The young lady specifically told me, Rosie explained. I absolutely had to wait 3 days before giving it to you. I bit back my frustration. Rosie had no idea what had transpired. "So, Leo," she asked, her smile lines crinkling again. "Is she romantic, this girl? Did she finally say yes?" I swallowed the lump in my throat, the paper feeling heavy in my hand. This was Fiona's message, clearly related to Sean's death. But why communicate so cryptically? If Marcus Zhao had indeed killed her, he'd have the means and motive to silence her, to monitor her communications. Had he been watching? Me too. A chill snaked down my spine. Looking around the street, everyone seemed like a potential tale. Paranoia, maybe, but caution felt essential. Telling Linda seemed risky. Were station communications secure? Fiona's use of this old-fashioned method suggested she feared electronic surveillance. I spent the next hour wandering through a crowded market, ducked into a public restroom, slipped out a back window, and climbed the fire escape to a second-floor internet cafe run by an old acquaintance who let me use a machine without ID. Password, on his chest. Not literal. His chest, a police officer's chest, their badge number. I tried Marcus Zhao's badge number. Incorrect. The site warned I had only one attempt left for the day. On his chest. Whose chest? If not Zhao's, not mine. A sickening thought surfaced. Zhao took Fiona to the clinic. Was the child definitely his? A captain risking everything? Unlikely. Unless he was covering for someone. Someone higher up. A superior he couldn't refuse. Which superior had contact with Fiona? I mentally reviewed the bureau chiefs. My mind recoiled from the obvious answer. The only connection I knew of besides myself. Chief Guan. No, it couldn't be. One chance left. If I was wrong, I'd have to wait until tomorrow. Better to be wrong about the chief than right, I thought grimly. My fingers, almost against my will, typed in Chief Gordon Guan's badge number. Login successful. My blood ran cold. The drive contained a single file, a whistleblower report addressed to the disciplinary committee. Signed by Sean Qian. He was reporting Deputy Chief Guan Bin for inappropriate conduct. Sean wrote, "That night, after leaving my girlfriend's apartment, still angry from our fight, I went for a walk downstairs to cool off. Feeling remorseful, I decided to go back up. As I approached the parking lot, I saw a black Subaru. Inside, my girlfriend's roommate, Fiona Fong, was kissing a man. Because my colleague Leo Grant is pursuing Fiona, I paid attention. I walked closer, intending to confront them. When I pulled open the car door, I was shocked to see it was Deputy Chief Guan Bin. Chief Guan was visibly flustered. He quickly pulled me aside, asking how to handle the situation. We agreed this would devastate Leo. He demanded I keep his secret, promising to promote me to captain of homicide once he became chief. I was disgusted and refused his offer, leaving angrily. My body trembled violently. I couldn't read further. I closed the document, struggling to breathe. Suppressing waves of nausea and grief, I clicked. Open the only other folder. Photos. Several selfies taken by Fiona in bed. She was in the foreground, smiling faintly. In the background, asleep, was Chief Guan. After the photos, there was an audio file. I put on the cheap internet cafe headphones and clicked play. Fiona and the chief on the phone. Fiona, I can't do it. Chief Guan, what are you afraid of? If I go down, do you think you'll fare any better? Fiona, but that's murder. Chief Guan, don't be afraid. Your roommate has multiple personalities, right? We can use that. Just do as I say. This plan will protect you. Fiona, voice trembling, tearful. I'm just a woman. How can you ask me to do this? Chief Guan, stop crying. Precisely because you're a woman, you're less suspicious. Don't worry, tomorrow I'll assign Leo to the case. He has feelings for you. We can use him. Fiona, we agreed. We promised we wouldn't hurt him. Chief Guan, idiot. If we wait any longer, Sean might call him. I've already had someone temporarily jam Leo's phone signal. We only have an hour. Don't hesitate. Fiona, oh Fiona, you foolish girl. Tears blurring my vision. I clicked on the final document. It was a letter addressed to me. Just a short poem, her final wish. If I should die, I hope that in my resting place, you'll plant 99 champagne roses. Let me leave the world with one last touch of fragrance. End.